is the U.S. on a clear path to economically separate from China? And is that the right road to take when it comes to American business? To former President Trump's top advisor on all things China, Michael Pillsbury, director of the Center for Chinese Strategy at the Hudson Institute. Michael, great to see you again. But, let's get right to this. This incursion by Chinese fighter jets near Taiwan came precisely one day after Taiwan applied to be part of the TPP-2, the comprehensive and progressive TPP trade bloc, which includes two of the four countries President Biden is meeting with right now, Australia and Japan. What do we glean from all of these news headlines?
Well, Chinese intentions are a matter of great debate in Washington, as you know, and in New York as well. On the one hand, the Chinese engage in aggressive, as you say, fighter violations of the ID zone around Taiwan. This idea of 300 new ICBMs that would focus on us, each one of which could have several H-bombs on it. There's just a whole series of provocative military steps and diplomatic criticism of our country that China is taking. But Ray Dalio, Jamie Dimon, you pick your leader in New York. They see a very different China that they want to benefit from. J.P. Dimon, I think, deserves a lot of credit for his courage. He said we Americans have to get used to being number two. China's going to surpass us. We're going to be number two. We have to get used to it because we'll be wealthier on a per capita basis. Now, both Biden and Trump have said China's not going to surpass America, quote, on my watch, unquote. But everybody's thinking about beyond that, 5 to 10 years in advance, when China either will be a major adversary that's stronger than we are or not. I think that's where the daily confusion that affects the market so much comes from, Liz, this basic ambiguity about Chinese intentions that allow this debate to go on in America.
Isn't it a better idea that we somehow figure out how to engage in business dealings with China, but somehow keep the upper hand on that business dealing? I mean, surely we do a lot of things better than they do when it comes to creativity. I remember speaking to the CEO of Electronic Arts years ago, and he said, I go to China for manufacturing, but I come to the US and France for the creative ideas that come out of the gaming minds.
Right.
So there's got to be that, right? Can we not keep the upper hand in that respect?
Absolutely. In fact, there's a fascinating series of books that came out of the Hoover Institution about 40 years ago that talk about business and Hitler and the Nazis. Ford Motor Company, many other U.S. corporations got deeply invested with Hitler. They would meet with Hitler in person. Hitler supposedly had a picture of Mr. Ford up in his office. So yes, we can cozy up to a regime that ultimately turns out to cause war. Then everybody loses who invested so heavily. But that's what the debate over the intentions of China is all about. We had that debate in the 30s. Right. Most people, especially in London and Washington, said Hitler will be our friend. He needs to repair the damage of the Versailles settlements. We need to all get along. Then all of a sudden, country after country gets invaded, and slowly those people lost all of their investment. Is China like Hitler and Nazi Germany? Looks like very few people think that today. But if the Chinese behavior continues, it's going to be a very scary ride, Liz, for those who got so deeply invested in China now.
There is the autocratic part of what Xi Jinping has done. But there's so much news, breaking news, and that is that Evergrande's electric vehicle unit says, we can't continue unless we get an immediate infusion of cash. Then you've got this breaking news on the Huawei situation. The chief financial officer, Meng Wanzhou, who has been stuck in Canada for quite some time on all kinds of accusations by the United States. A deal has been made between the Justice Department allowing her to return back and the Canadian and Chinese governments. Tell us what you make of that, and does that ease the pressure or tamp it on?
Well, I cannot confirm the deal's been made. I know the negotiations have been underway. It definitely is a gesture toward China. Just in the last couple of weeks, the Biden administration has made a number of gestures toward China. They're hoping to show kind of a softer side and work more toward cooperation, especially on climate change. And the Biden people, I think, I've talked to here in town today, they're very happy about Xi Jinping's speech at the UN this week, that China will stop building coal-fired plants all around the world. If that's true, it's a big breakthrough for the people in the Biden White House who care about climate change more than almost anything else. There's a number of these gestures that I believe will still be coming toward China. You'll notice in the Quad talks today, the White House press advice is not to mention China. The Quad is just kind of like four democracies who want to get together on common grounds, but no anti-China rhetoric. I think that's because they want to keep Modi in the Quad. He'll quit if it's turned into an anti-China alliance.
Michael, we have so many questions more. We hope you'll come back. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Liz.
Michael Pillsbury, illustrating the issues with China.